This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I want to apologize to the audience yesterday because they want their hours and they want them every day, and they have made us a beast, Stugotz. Like, I am really proud and happy right now in a contract year that DraftKings has been the best sponsor we've ever had. We love DraftKings, got a great relationship with them, and also it's the content free agent spending spree time where everyone in streaming is trying to get into sports. It's just an aggressive business time. And so I have been wanting to feed the addiction to our audience, and they continue to allow us to make a great business out of what all of this is. And yesterday they expected 4 hours after 2 weeks off after football headed into the playoffs, and we can only give them 3 because the computers are melting. And it was very hot and the air conditioning wasn't working. And that's not winter problems that most media companies have. But they told me, don't do it in Miami, Dan. You're an idiot. Don't ever do it in Miami. You're a fool. And so the equipment was melting yesterday. Yep. And we didn't get the 4th hour out, but we did get you some Ron McGill best of. And I just wanted to apologize to the audience for that. We will give you your full ration of addiction today. I didn't get to the Golden Globes yesterday. There were 1,000 things I wanted to talk about that I never got the chance to talk about. Apple, $95 million settlement, because, we've been eavesdropping on people. Yeah. It's just the most common thing. We all know this now and accept it. Apple pays $95 million in a lawsuit to just be like, we listened to you. But we don't want to offend Apple because they're good business partners. Got to be careful who we offend in this age of free agency in a contract year.
Everyone's hiring. Yeah. If you order merchandise, don't criticize the company you order the merchandise for. They have this company starting.
Dangerous game.
Also, like the consequences for Apple doing things with our phone, like we're just so dependent on them. Remember when they had to essentially admit, whenever there was a new update that came out, it would kind of ruin your phone because you had to buy the new iPhone. We'd kind of make that happen. They got slapped on the wrist with a fine, and we kept buying the new iPhones anyways.
Too big to fail.
Those Chargers, though, I mean.
You mentioned Ron McGill. I saw Ron McGill over the break and had an uncomfortable moment.
Really?
In part because of Ron McGill. And it was really a bad behavior on my part that I should apologize for to the people that I offended. But I don't know how to, or if they're even going to remember it or experience it the same way. Like, do you guys ever have something and it played out differently in your head than you think that it was for other people? So, like, you feel guilt about something that other people are like, I don't really care about that at all. I had that with Ron McGill. So I went to the zoo. So I don't want to brag, annual pass holder at the zoo. No big deal. Yeah.
You're a regular.
Yeah, I can go whenever I damn well please. Because I have one of those family passes, right? Yeah. It's like $70. Honestly, I don't know why it's so cheap. I don't know why I'm saying this because now they're going to raise the price, but it's like cheaper to get the annual pass than it is to take your family for a day to the zoo. So if you have interest in going to the zoo and you have a family, get the annual pass.
You are a zoo supporter, and it is cheap.
Yeah,
it
I love
is a
the
bargain.
animals. I love the animals.
It's like the drink package on a cruise. It is.
Yeah, but that one seems more like a challenge. You get the drink package on a cruise, you're like, I'm going to make money here. Because, like, what you do is you start counting the drinks, you start adding it up, and then you convince yourself that you actually made money by drinking more.
Billy, you're a man of the people, and I believe that your aggressive support of the zoo is something that is fun for the whole family. You are a McGill supporter, but what happened with you and him?
You know what I saw before we get to that at the zoo? I saw they installed cameras where I believe the chimpanzees are, and I wanted to ask him about it whenever he comes back on because before it wasn't there, and I went to the zoo previously, and one of the chimpanzees asked a man to throw him ice cream, so the man obliged and threw him ice cream. And then the chimpanzee ate said ice cream. After waving the man and saying, throw me the ice cream, he threw him the ice cream. And now there's cameras set up everywhere, and there's a recording in English and Spanish of Ron McGill telling people if they throw the chimpanzees anything, they will be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And it's on an endless loop. And I wonder, what's worse for the health of these chimpanzees, eating the occasional ice cream or having Ron McGill talk to them 24 hours a day, driving them crazy?
We need to ask Ron McGill this. You don't understand, okay? I don't know what's coming the next 4 years. None of us know what's coming the next 4 years, but I assure you it's not people who will be interested in protecting the zoo and Ron McGill.
I'm just doing my part.
And so Ron McGill is going to need our protection because I don't know how many of you remember the scene from 1,000,000 years ago of Indiana Jones waving a torch at a bunch of snakes. But whatever is coming for government funding, is going to make it hard for you to afford things like that precious, precious zoo that he cares about more than anybody because he cares about the animals more than anybody. But what was the awkward moment you had with our hero, Ron McGill?
Well, so as I mentioned, I have the annual pass so I can support Ron's vacations. And what happened was Ron was on a vacation to the Galapagos, which I think zoo people, I'm not exactly sure. So I go to the zoo, and the people here who have kids know sometimes you will see your kids' classmates out in the wild. And the kids are very excited when they see each other
Totally
out in the
awkward
wild.
for the parents.
Okay, so
Here we go.
it's fun for the kids to see each other out in the wild. But, the kids, my eldest is 3. These are 3-year-olds. They see each other like, they're screaming each other's names. They go, they're excited. They run up to each other. So then you go and you say, like, hi to the parents. Hey, how's it going? How's the break? School's going to start again next week. You start the small talk. And then one of the parents says, hey, look, it's Ron McGill. And I was excited because you don't always see Ron McGill. Every time you go to the zoo, I'm going to see a giraffe, I'm going to see a zebra, I'll see a rhino. But you don't know if you're going to see Ron McGill.
Billy, I don't. You know this. Ron McGill's a giant star. Sábado Gigante is a show. Internationally, Ron McGill represents the fascination of how exotic Miami is to the world. He's a big star, and when people see him at the zoo, he's the biggest attraction.
He is. It's exciting to see him because you never know when you're going to see him or if you're going to see him because sometimes we see him, he's in his office, and you'll see pictures of him everywhere. You'll hear his voice telling people don't throw things at the chimpanzees. But this person says, oh, look, it's Ron McGill. And we're like, I got excited. So I was like, I got to go say hi to Ron McGill. So I kind of just take off in the middle of this conversation to go say hi to Ron McGill. Like I jog over because he was on a golf cart. So I had to almost jog over to the golf course and I tap him on the shoulder like, hey, Ron. He's like, oh, hey, Billy, how's it going? You know how he talks. So he gets out of the thing and I'm like, how are the Galapagos? Oh, it's amazing. Does all that, Ron McGill stuff. He's talking to me about the Galapagos. He gets out of the golf cart. We're talking about, it's so great to see you. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's so much construction going on right now at the zoo.
Mickey Mouse?
And I'm like, it's fine, Ron. Don't worry about it. We're here. We support you. We're here all the time. Anyways, it's not a big deal, right? So he gets out. I'm talking to him. He's talking to me. We're talking about the Galapagos, all that stuff.
Time to
right?
look cool.
Yeah. And the parents are there. And then I introduce them. I'm like, oh, here's my wife. And, my daughters. I don't know if you met my daughters. And then I noticed that, at some point, the friends and the parents of the friends have left. And I was like, oh, should I have introduced them to Ron McGill? And should I have bailed in the middle of a conversame with them to say hi to Ron McGill? I felt very rude after the fact. And then they were gone, and we didn't see them the rest of the day. And the whole day I was full of regret of leaving in the middle of this conversation and then not introducing them to Ron McGill.
That's
and
a
then
good
just
way to
going
live
on
life.
Talking to regret?
Yeah, just
it's the only way I know how.
Yeah,
Overthinking.
Feeling it all day. Feeling regret all day.
I was feeding the giraffes, and I couldn't shake the feeling.
Yeah.
You should send your apology.
I thought about changing my daughter's schools, honestly. I was like, I can't face these
Just
people
tell
ever
your
again.
3-year-old the apology, and she'll relay the message.
No, and then the whole day, she's like, oh, where? I'm just asking where her friend is, and I'm like, I don't know, but also, they probably hate me now because I left very rudely.
A calamitous zoo visit that
but I
should have
saved
been
some
wonderful.
Right.
It was a lovely day. Aside from that, let me ask you guys another question. Awkwardness aside, and how you would deal with that situation. So, the zoo has a split. We ended up going not in the same loop as them. I'm assuming because we didn't see them, but you then have to have you figure it out, right? Because if you go the same loop as your kids' friends, then you're in it all day with your kids' friends and their family, whatever. And it's not. You have to decide: do I want to ruin another family's day by including me in it? You know what I mean?
That's how you look at it.
No,
That's a great way of putting it.
But
right.
it is the thing, right? It's like so.
Do you want to ruin your day?
No,
Right.
it's their day. They didn't come to the zoo wanting to spend the day with my child and me, right? But I know how kids work. So do you go the way of the friend of the school, or do you go the opposite way? We didn't have that situation. We ended up just going the opposite way, but it's something that goes through my head.
Take a bathroom break really early on so that way you're
no,
not
because then
doing
everyone.
the same thing.
No.
Hey, we're gonna stop for food. You
have to go
guys
the
go
same
on ahead.
pace,
If I look, Billy, I'm promising you here. I want to go wherever it is that the end of this takes us, and I also want to make a stop at whatever it is that happened to you at the rental car center this morning.
Never go for the manager special.
But I just want to
You
tell you.
always go for the manager
All right,
special.
hold on, please. Everyone, settle down, okay?
Sorry.
Just for a
We're
second.
talking rental cars.
I will follow Billy wherever he wishes to go here, which is rare for me, okay? But Mike Ryan's going crazy.
He is.
Because for 10 minutes, he's had giant NFL news.
He just took a call.
Mike Ryan for 10 minutes has had giant NFL news.
Well, let's do that. I didn't know.
No.
Well, break the news. If not, someone else is going to break it.
He's just teasing it.
Nope. I want to hear the rest of what you have to say here.
That's
Please
it.
take us on this joyride.
No, that was it. We were just talking about the zoo. That's it. And then we were just having one of life's conundrums. If you run into one of your kids' friends in the wild, do you follow them or do you go the opposite path? The road less traveled. A literal fork in the road, if you will.
I always go the opposite way
Same.
But why?
because I don't like people.
Right.
Oh.
Yep, same here. What'd you choose?
Well, I didn't get to that choice because they
You never
left.
got to the fork in the road?
No, I didn't get to the fork in the road, but they had left while I had rudely started talking to Ron McGill, so I didn't have the decision to make. But I was thinking, had I reached this decision, would we have made an opposite decision, and then they'd be mad at me anyway? You know? It's just one of those things. You'll get it, Dan.
I almost don't want to have a positive interaction with a student's parents. Because
They're so young, though.
Right, but your kid wants to hang out with the other kids.
Yeah.
That's the conundrum.
I understand, but I just hope this isn't a positive experience for us because this can't be a thing.
Well,
for me.
here's the thing, Stugotz. You've been through it. Your daughters are in college. One of his daughters, I don't know if you guys heard on God Bless Football yesterday, studying abroad in Australia.
Yeah.
Down under.
That's incredible.
Down under, yeah.
So I'm just
Somehow closer than her home would have been down
for
here.
the record, because he just casually dropped this in. Stugotz is planning a trip to Australia at some point where he'll just disappear and he'll tell us, I told you I was going to Australia. So I think he said it was for the Open, but I'm not 100% sure. So mark that on your calendars now. Just mark that on your calendars now.
What happened?
He already dropped in. I'm going to
What
the
happened
Open in
there?
Australia.
Australian Open, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so just
when in Rome.
keep an eye on that one.
They're playing the warm-up tourneys.
During the playoffs of the NFL.
Shout out to
Bowl.
Riley Opelka, friend of the show. He's back.
I had the same exact thing happen running into one of my daughter's friends at the mall over the holidays, but I did not go in for the shake hands and introduce. I kind of kept the distance. I let the kids talk, and I just I acknowledged the parents, but it was just kind of like a hello from a distance. I didn't want to do the thing of let's get into 10 minutes of small talk.
Right.
No, we did that. But I've been getting pep talks, and Stugotz, this is where you come in because you've been through this. My dad's been giving me pep talks about this, and he's like, you need to make friends with these people. You're going to be going to school with them the entirety of their time in school unless one of you leaves. And he keeps saying this. These are the families you're going to go to Disney World with. Wow. You need to start making these relationships now, and it's a lot of pressure.
Right. I can tell you I never went to Disney World with a single family. None of them. None of my kids' friends. We never went together. I coached their lacrosse team. That's how I got out of everything, and that's how I brought them all together, and that's how I spent time with the families, by not spending time with the family. Because I was on the sideline coaching the team. They were watching the games.
The Australian Open is in 5 days.
You want to go?
God bless football.
So are the
during
NFL
playoffs.
playoffs.
It's gonna be.
All right, we'll find out together. We'll find out contract year. It's an amazing time to be a company in the
his
contract
defense,
year.
I didn't schedule this. I don't schedule the Australian Open. I don't schedule, studying abroad. I'm glad Emma's doing it. It's a big opportunity for her. She's having a blast. I want to go visit her. I mean, I'm not going to go. Dan, I'm going, post-March. I'm not going anytime soon. I mean, the Australian Open, it was a joke.
Post-March, though, but then it's their winter, and that's no fun. No. You want to go when it's your winter, and it's their summer.
I'm not doing winter. I might not see Emma. We'll see.
Number of things that I need to get to. You guys can't let me get out of here without saying more on that Fox Sports lawsuit. You guys know that is the click chum everyone loves. Everyone loves the garbage.
5 days, huh?
Watch me.
I want to get to a witty call, and I want to get to Dylan Gabriel possibly being stoned, okay?
If you want to talk rental cars, I'm still here.
Well,
for you whenever you
no,
want
I
to.
do. And
That's what we got all excited about.
I want to get to
Mike took a phone
Mike
call.
has breaking news, okay? And
against the spread.
Mike's got an I happen to know.
And you should promote the Dan interviews Dan thing one more time.
You should label it Dan versus Dan because people like fights.
Yeah.
Dan versus Dan.
Dan interviews Dan is like, oh, God.
You know what? Let's
God.
change
No,
it.
Dan
let's change-
versus
no.
Dan.
No, we can't change it.
Oh, sorry.
Posters have been printed.
Let's change it.
Stop coming up with good ideas after the fact. Should have brought you.
We'll
in
include him
that.
on the front end.
Duke it out.
It was Dan like Dan interviews Dan.
Dan versus. Well, it was two Dans walk into a bar.
Two Dan's cutting it up, but we went Dan interviews Dan.
So many good
Because
ideas.
The arrows go both ways.
Right.
There's two. They're both named Dan.
Dan
Caused
versus
all sorts
Dan
of
is
issues.
better. Dan versus.
Has
Dan
anyone
is
checked in
better.
with Dan? Which Dan?
How would you take out Dan Patrick in a fight?
Ticketweb.com for
I thought you were gonna say
Dan
tickle
versus
'em.
Dan. Search LeBatard.
One more time, ticketweb.com. Just search Dan Le Batard. It's the first thing that comes up. We have a QR code right here on the screen right now. If you're watching us on Peacock or YouTube, that QR code, you hold your iPhone up to. I'm just explaining this to Stugotz and Greg Cody.
Thank you.
You open, and Dan. Patrick and LeBatard. You open up your camera, you wait till the link populates at the bottom, and it'll take you straight to there. But if you don't want to do that, if you're just listening to us on our podcast, monitor our socials because the link's out there too, or just go to ticketweb.com and search Dan Le Batard, and I promise you it's quick and easy.
So you're doing this Super Bowl week. You're doing it one night in New Orleans.
While you're in Australia, yes.
Wow.
Hopefully
Yes.
an American takes it.
It'll be me and Billy on God Bless Football.
You expecting this trip, or
We will get you as a correspondent from the Australian Open.
What percentage do you give an American winning that? And it's been a while.
It has.
American men's tennis is as good a position as it's been in a while.
Fritzy?
You guys know that the hockey canceled their All-Star game? They're just having 4 countries fight each other?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Chris and I are going. More on that. in a
Really?
minute. Yeah.
Wow.
Guys,
Roy's going to be mad.
when it comes to, oh my God,
He had green text.
when it comes to more on that in a second, I've got a lot that I have to get to, okay? And I don't think there's going to be time in the last 15 minutes because Mike has what we believe to be giant news.
I can tell you right now, wholeheartedly, who the number 1 pick of the NFL draft is going to be.
Wow.
But
That's
Rental cars.
Wow is a curious word to choose.
But I can't get to it right now or against the spread because I have to know why it is that Billy tried to get a rental car today, chose the manager's surprise. Stugotz is sitting here saying you have to choose the manager's surprise, and I am led to believe that you regret, just from the look on your face and how you came in here today, that you regret choosing the manager's surprise.
Well, I got in a car accident. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. And anyway, so I rented a car for a couple of days, and I did the manager surprise because it was the cheapest thing available. It was like, well, it's only cost $29 a day or whatever if you do the manager surprise. And I'm like, I don't care what car I get. I'm just trying to get to work. And when I got the manager surprise, boy, was I surprised. It's an electric car, which is fine. I don't have a problem with an electric car. But, like, the way that you have to return the car with the same amount of gas, I need to return it with the same amount of, like, kilowatts or whatever.
Huh.
So now I need to find a place to charge it.
A charging station?
And I need to figure out how many kilowatts an hour this thing needs to get in there before it is that I take it back to Hertz.
All right.
It's more work now. I would have rather just taken the car for $3 more that I could put gas because I can control that. Again, I'm not against the electric vehicle. It's kind of cool, but this is now a job. I need to figure out how to fill this thing up and now sit at a bench somewhere while it like charges itself up. And then I need to play the game where I guess how long a kilowatt an hour goes and what is a kilowatt an hour versus a minute an hour. And then it's one of these things. Is it metric? I don't know. I don't know how these things work. I need to figure this out. Where's there a charging station? How much does it cost? How do I find one? What if I plug it in wrong? What if I get locked out of the car?
You went cheapest? You went the cheapest?
Of course.
And the cheapest resulted in an electric car, and you've never used one before, and it ended up being a disaster. It is a disaster.
Well, no, it's not a
How
disaster.
confusing is that break?
Full disclosure, my wife has a hybrid, so I'm somewhat familiar with the electric. But this is all electric, and again, it's cool. But I don't the hours, kilowatt hours. Where do I charge it? It's like it's a whole thing. And
you don't know how to charge your car like a phone.
He doesn't know where to go to charge.
I don't
the
know
car.
where to
Right.
go to charge. Exactly.
Yes,
I could find a
right.
gas station on any corner. Now I need to download apps. I need to look at maps. I need to figure out where to go. I need to know, is this a good price for kilowatts? I don't know, but I don't want to be overcharged for a kilowatt. Then they ask me, well, if you just pay a fee and then you'll be covered. I'm like, no, not a chance. You're going to charge me $50 a kilowatt or something, and I'm not going to pay. I know a kilowatt. I don't know what it costs, but it's not $50 a kilowatt, so I'm not going to pay that.
There are charging stations, I think, at most gas stations, aren't there?
No, not at most gas stations.
Really?
I don't know, but I need to figure it out. I need to figure out how to charge it. And like you were saying, electric cars are not cheap, but I'm assuming no one is choosing to rent them, and that's why they're the manager's surprise. I've been surprised twice out of the last 3 times that I rented a car. One time was with a Chevy Bolt EV, which is this one, a little tiny car that you plug in. The other time was a 15-passenger van in Kansas City, which was that one was a pleasant surprise. But I knew where to fill that thing up if I had to. It's just always a surprise, and I'm starting to learn you don't like the surprise every time.
That van was a beauty, man.
Put it on
my
the
gosh.
poll at LeBatard Show. It sounds like great fun to me. I'll go with the manager surprise. Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Will you choose the manager surprise every time? Are you expecting the manager surprise at the rental car place to be the cheapest thing? Because I'm with Stugotz. Delight me. Surprise me with my purchase, but it sounds like a disaster. All right, listen to me. If we don't get to Mike's news, we're going to have a problem here because everybody needs the NFL news. Now, unfortunately, we're in a contract year and we've got a sponsored segment here. So to bring maximum attention to that, we got to tell people that we're doing against the spread here. But Mike's news is big. He's got an I happen to know that's bigger than most I happen to know. So, give me our sponsored segment first, please.
That's right. It's time for Against the Spread. And it's presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Jeremy, what do you got?
Guys, I've never been allowed to give this advice until the Florida Panthers were no longer a part of my regional sports network. So now I can tell you to bet on the Panthers. Tomorrow night, stay up for a East Coast 10 o'clock start, West Coast game.
That was really
It was
confusing.
terrible. I'm normally good at broadcasting, but I got confused because they're not on our regional sports network anymore.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
I have 2 now.
Major
You
penalty,
guys know
5
that?
minutes for stumbling.
I have 2 Emmys.
You have 2 minutes.
Now, is it a personal one or an ensemble?
It says my name.
You didn't answer
Part
the
of a
question.
cast.
Get out of here. Someone else will make the bet.
What was his pick? I don't even
It's
know
the
who they're
Panthers.
playing.
-1.5
Get
against
out
the
of
Utah
here.
Hockey Club
Get
tomorrow
out of
night
here.
against the spread.
Spread, just say that.
That's
Jesus
a nationally
Christ.
televised game.
Used 4 words one time.
Mike, what do you got?
I'm going to take Texas.
Against the
Do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I would like to give some insight.
Could be
I
any
I
Texas,
just really
too.
like. Well, I have to give some gambling insight. Look, Ohio State's feeling themselves right now, but they should do this. They have all the talent in the world. They're the best team. I still don't think we've seen the best of Texas. I think Texas can hang inside that number, particularly because I really like that defensive line for Texas, and that's why I'm taking them against the spread.
Thank you. I don't mind a lot of words if they're going to be informational, but him coming
Start
in.
time.
Time zone was important.
He
But I think it's also a 9 o'clock.
It might just be Jeremy,
But
too.
No, listen. I'm going to start doing employee reviews around here.
He's
When
a
I-
trigger.
And when I
He's
sit,
a good
when
kid.
I sit, yes, he's a good kid.
and an Emmy winner.
Yeah, and an Emmy winner
2 times.
Okay, yes.
Part of the
Okay,
cast.
Yes, agreed.
His name's on the trophy, though.
Agreed. He's a broadcasting prodigy. But here, let me play for you some witty sound because the standard.
Prodigy.
Wait a minute.
This dude was prodigious.
He's
You've gone too far.
Look, listen to me, Stugotz. Jeremy Taché has some of the best jobs locally in sports broadcasting, and he's a child. Okay.
There are times that I look at him, I'm like, why do you subject yourself to this?
Yeah.
You're good at what you do.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But he likes to do a little tap dance before getting in and giving the information in that schmarmy broadcasting way
Do you
that
have
is
an
the antithesis of everything we want to do.
You don't
around
have an
here.
Emmy.
The website for his event says he does.
What? You're not the Emmy winner. Maybe that's the other Dan, because it's Dan interviews Dan.
Dan versus Dan.
Dan versus Dan.
Well, if the competition is win an Emmy, it ain't LeBatard.
That is correct. I've never won any of the broadcasting awards.
That's why you're so upset with Jeremy.
No.
You won a New Times,
New Times best show.
Green doesn't look
best
good on you,
AM
Dan.
afternoon show.
and
I mean,
you're perennial winner for
Except
best
olive
mistake.
green.
Listen to me. When it comes to prodigious talent birthed by our show, Chris Whittingham came onto the scene here when he was about 15 or 16 years old. And so, Mike, I'm asking you genuinely how you feel about this call, because Whitty is living his dreams as a young broadcaster. He's no Noah Eagle. Know that. But in terms of what we've had in South Florida, there's never been a broadcasting sports prodigy like Chris Whittingham. So let me play for the people this call, which is Whittingham arriving at his dreams and getting to voice them.
It's turned in.
accent by Winningham.
He's so good, though.
And then just isolating it, he did great the entire match. It's the Italian Super Cup, and it's Inter Milan versus AC Milan. Arguably the biggest rivalry in Italy, and the game was amazing. There were great chances, end to end. Pulisic, you knew he would show up for January 6th. He absolutely killed it, and it was an amazing game. And for him to have that crescendo, like an at the death winner, and lay out for that moment after a huge monumental 2-0, most dangerous lead in sports, monumental comeback and a huge moment for that club. He is so great at what he does. He's now the lead voice over at Paramount for Serie A, and playing that back literally warmed my heart. That was incredible by him. He's so good. So good.
He's no Noah Eagle. But he'll keep trying, and Jeremy will keep trying. And hopefully, Jeremy will be playing a xylophone while calling Heat games in 3 years.
He hoisted babies, if you remember.
Oh,
right,
man,
but
that was a good one.
he wants to be up. He wants to be a theater kid.
You very much don't like him. It's obvious.
It's okay.
Just say it, dude.
It's okay.
You'll feel better.
Whoa,
He'll
whoa,
feel
whoa,
better.
whoa,
I mean,
whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean? Wait a
everyone
minute.
feels better.
Wait a
I mean,
minute.
It'll be less tense.
The audience
Yeah.
agrees.
Just say what you want to
With
say.
Dan.
The audience knows.
Prodigy.
What I would like for Jeremy
Making up for some stuff there. I mean, come on.
is for Jeremy to realize in some instances that he doesn't know everything.
Oh.
Well,
I do.
That's right.
I've just learned from you
That
guys.
what you need
so
to,
you know,
that's
you
right.
don't, because I do.
That's
Right.
correct.
And because Dan does.
Jeremy, that's what we're saying.
I'm learning in real time.
Jeremy, what we're saying is you don't get to be the guy who knows everything, because I am.
Even if I know.
Yes,
doesn't
correct.
matter.
You don't know.
Okay, got
I think
it.
you know, but you have no idea.
So even if I know.
What don't you understand?
I get it. No, I know. Now I
Do
know.
you understand the
strong.
gig?
Yeah, I get it.
The gig is you can't know everything if I knew.
So if I know, I just got to give it to you so that you can know.
Precisely.
That's
got it.
what
Right.
producers
All right.
do.
I got it.
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't hired as any specific role. I don't even think I've ever signed a piece of paper that says I work here. But I'll be a producer. Sure.
I don't
Make
think we
him
see
look
you.
like the guy who knows, not yourself.
Did the air just
Got
cut
it.
off?
I
don't know
think
what
I
happened.
get what's
did
going
cut off.
on
I'm
here.
sweating.
The whole prodigy thing. Dan's trying to talk him up so someone comes in and scoops him away so Dan doesn't have to deal
Get
with
him
it.
out of here.
He's doing the opposite of Riley. He's trying to
Yeah.
build up my trade values.
You're
He's
the
like,
free
oh,
agent.
look at
Agency
Whitty.
that he keeps
Look what we
referring to.
developed. The next one's here.
Got
Just take
it.
him from us.
Oh, okay. Now I understand.
I'm passive aggressive that way. Been in all my relationships my entire
You
life.
and Boston Connor.
I'm sure me and Barstool will get along great.
Mike, what's the news? What's the news? Because
Okay,
you're,
so-
you're locking this down. You're saying this is so because people are going to eat this up. They're going to eat this up.
This is his biggest report in his early reporting
No,
career.
no,
is
no,
it
I
not?
wish
no,
I lived
no.
in a DraftKings state
Oh,
because
the
I'd
messy
lock in
one.
Shador
Yeah.
Sanders. You're number one.
No, this was Messi is the biggest story he's ever
Messi.
broken.
Yeah, it
but
was big.
this one in America, this one will create more stir.
So we know the breaking news from today. The Titans have parted ways with Rand Carthon. Rand Carthon, I happen to know, liked Cam Ward. The head of scouting was a former Miami Hurricane, A.J. Highsmith, related to Alonzo Highsmith. And Cam Ward, as of right now even, is still the favorite to go number one. However, the news of this broke, and Deion Sanders took to Twitter and responded, quote, tweet, "Wow." Now, if you also go back into Deion Sanders' Twitter, do you have it open? I know you were looking at it before. Who has Deion Sanders been publicly supporting to get a job for general manager this entire offseason to the point that it's been a little odd? It's been Lou Riddick. Wow. Very flattering tweets about him. So now there's this job opening. Early consensus is Lou Riddick is in the mix for this job. We know that Deion Sanders loves Lou Riddick, has been publicly endorsing him, has not been endorsing other GM candidates because why? Because he knows if Lou Riddick gets that job that is now open in Tennessee, his son Shador Sanders goes number one to Lou Riddick's team. That is what I would be banking on because I happen to know. Wow. Now, what does this mean for the number 2 spot? That falls now to the Cleveland Browns. And if we go down this path where Lou Riddick goes to the Titans and we expect Shador Sanders to go to Tennessee as well, Cleveland is on the clock. Cam Ward is there. Wow. I might be coming home.
Wow.
Mike's coming home. Coming home.
Deion Sanders is saying,
Wow.
So good. Right.
all knowledge and class is what he's saying of Louis Riddick. So what you're basically saying, on top of who is going to be number one and number two, if Louis Riddick gets that job, Deion Sanders is going to feel like he's everyone's boss in both sports?
Well, they also have a head coach opening. Well, not yet, but what if the GM doesn't like the head coach? Like, it could mean for Deion Sanders too. I'm not fantasy booking that, but we know that there is a GM candidate that Deion Sanders has publicly endorsed in strange ways. He's not doing this for other people. So, scratch my back, scratch yours. Tennessee, all of a sudden, I have faith in this place as a location for my son. And also, we know that the previous regime probably had Cam Ward, I happen to know, probably had Cam Ward rated ahead of Shedeur Sanders.
Wow.
But I can't say that
Wow.
for Lou Riddick, who'd bring an entirely different staff, a staff possibly devoid of Miami Hurricanes alumni.
That one's super
This is
interesting.
juicy, man.
I think the juiciest part of that, I don't know, you tell me if you think there's something juicier than this part of it. If Deion Sanders is wanting to run this sport the way that he ran that sport, Louis Riddick doesn't have any kind of pedigree that wouldn't make it so that Deion Sanders is now in business with Louis Riddick on protecting the career of his son, because Deion Sanders is going to run this thing with Louis Riddick and can coach Colorado while he's doing it or not, because never mind the coaching parts of it, he's just getting into business with Louis Riddick at the top of pro football after, doing everything he had to do to get there. That one's pretty, man, what's better than that one?
He's becoming partners with Louis Riddick to ensure what he thinks will give his son the best chance of success in the NFL, which is a very cool thing. I do wonder if Deion wants to coach in the NFL.
Well, the mind certainly wanders over there, but let's keep our eye on the ball here, which is certainly Cam Ward to the Browns at number 2.
Mike's coming home. Look at him. Look at him. Bye, Jew.
Hi, Stugotz.
I was talking to you, Stugotz.
I did not say that.
Couple of Jews.
Juju, it is always nice seeing you. Thank you for stopping by today. I wanted to ask you something because Mike Ryan just got done talking about something that loops you in, because I saw that you were working your NFL networking sources this weekend with the Tennessee Titans, and we're reporting as a show, it sounded like, that we know everything that's about to happen in the NFL and that Louis Riddick and Deion Sanders are about to take over the Titans. So what can you report from this weekend of insider reporting all around the Titans? Because I saw that you're vying to become an NFL insider.
Yes, sir. And due to, I protect my sources, so this is all I would say.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're doing it right now. You're saying Cam Ward. I don't think that's the same report that Mike Ryan had, though. Mike Ryan's report.
He did. Mike had.
No, that's I'm confirming Mike Ryan's
he had Shedeur
report.
going.
If you out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, you are, for those that weren't watching on video, what is this world you live in where you have all of these things just sitting around like you've got?
He lifted up a Browns logo and a UM jersey. That's what he did for the audio audience.
But how much stuff
Yes,
do you
sir.
have there? What is the general worth of a collection that is formidable of yours?
Way too much to brag about. It's not. Children out there, save your money. Buy important things like land, property, stocks. Don't be like me and waste all your money on memorabilia. Let me be the example, because it gets you nothing. You just have a house full of stuff.
Well, it's a lot of stuff, and you look better than anyone else's Zoom. Did you see me walking around on Sunday, my apartment? Well, anyways, let's get to today's show, because Chris Cody, I never got to the Fox Sports lawsuit. I'm not going to put that here now with Juju. These are good vibes, so I'll have to get to that tomorrow. But what did we screw up today? What did we get right? The last couple of days have been a frenzy because a lot of people have been wanting to talk after 2 weeks off.
Yes, sir. Today, I think salute to the audience. They were in a roar about this. The coaching carousel may need some WD-40 around the ankles.
Dude, my knees hurt.
You
So
see what I'm
bad.
saying? Because Dan, combined with your knees not being what they used to be, you give a little grunt every time you get out the chair. And for some reason, you had your eyes closed tight and you was biting your lips as well. So I'm like, yeah. Somebody, WD-40, my boys, a carousel for him, please. Chris had a perfect carousel. Out of all carousels, he would look at my boy. Look at him. Killing him.
Yeah, well, Juju, I don't know if you saw what happened there, but Chris Cody did crush the carousel, but no one else was participating. Like, everyone, Stugotz.
At one point,
Stugotz just muttered under me, my body hurts. Like, nobody else. It was the most bored carousel. And so I feel as a leader that me and Chris have to lead everybody. And all I got was like Mike Ryan lifted a leg and farted a couple times. It was such a bored effort from everyone involved.
I think we might need to get everybody some carousel classes, like judo, just some carousel after the recording every day, bro.
Juju, I'm gonna let people see behind the scenes. Do you know how pathetic I found myself as founder of the company, trying to motivate someone other than Chris Cody? Can you participate in this dumb fucking carousel? We're doing carousel music. Can we participate? So what do? I lend my knees to the cause, and no one else wants to do it. And now you're here to criticize me for grunting.
Dan probably does that like twice a year, where it's just a note for the room. Usually the room picks up on stuff. Dan had to be like, carousel, everyone.
This was Dan right here. He was like, Jesus.
But no, it's because I was hiding my repressions under clenched teeth that I have to tell a group of adults who have worked for a long time with us that they have to do the carousel. Don't be bored around the carousel.
And then Billy did a board carousel.
He didn't do shit.
Billy
didn't do shit. He wasn't listening. He didn't try.
He got the free carousel. Don't even cost a quarter. Just hop on, man. Going back to yesterday's show, salute to my brother David Samson. But those glasses, sir, the Elton John glasses, however, they were tamed. The first set of glasses, I don't know if that was Bono glasses or
George Michael. They're not any good. No, they were bad.
I wouldn't be a good friend to David Samson if I don't let him know, hey man, that might not be the best option for you to just pull out on strangers. You know what I'm saying? Let that be one of the things you just wear around friends. You feel me? Not the national broadcast either. Those look a little bit I don't know.
No, you're right. You try not to be judgmental, but no, you got him. We do not, man. We don't have a lot of style around here. It's
okay though. He don't need it because I'm sure the glasses cost what, like $4 billion.
Yeah,
just keep them in the house, bit bro.
Those glasses costing whatever it is they cost make David Samson unlikable. I mean, they do.
And a few other things.
He said he would have kept people from not getting their incentives yesterday.
Yeah, that too.
Come on, Dave. Dang, loosen up, bro. Get well soon also for the bit, toe. Over the Christmas break, I realized something that I wanted to bring and try it out to you guys. Moving forward, I am a comedian. My job title is comedian. Because over the break, I realized that comedians get to really just say whatever they want to say and don't get backlash for it at all. So moving forward, as my career, I'm a comedian. So if I say anything out of bounds, I was just joking. You dig me? So yes, comedian.
I want to do that too. I'm a comedian too.
You guys saw Whitney Cummings on New Year's? Is that what this was?
No, who is Whitney Cummings?
Oh, boy. Go look at the things she said on New Year's Eve and got away with on CNN. It was unbelievable. Behind comedian. It's great. Juju, you win on this one.
Yes, sir. Everybody be getting over it and salute. So I'm now a comedian. As well, over the break, I realized NFL, I know the playoffs are very valuable and we have the best rules for the playoffs. But I had to see and sit back and watch Michael Penix not get a chance in overtime the other night against Jalen Daniels in a very pivotal game for the Falcons. And so I think that we should change those overtime rules in the regular season. We got to give both offenses a chance, bro, at least a chance. And maybe some kind of super rule where if you go for two as well as score a touchdown, now game over. But you just can't have somebody win the game because they call tails.
A super rule.
Yes, sir. That's just my suggestion to my brother.
It's a good. No, this is the look. I don't think people understand this trough. Everyone's firing off a lot of sports takes. It is hard to get off sports takes that somebody else isn't already having. So Juju consistently, you've been baking that one you've been baking the super rule for about 10 days now.
Yes, sir, bro. I was watching Michael Penix Jr. in a place full of Atlanta ATLians. That's what they call them, brother. You should have seen the violence that ensued after that overtime was over outside the club. It was just not good. So, Roger Goodell, you can step in front of that. You did me. Get everybody a chance, man. Also, you know how the defenders get like Trevor Lawrence this year. The brother Al-Shaair had got a big hit on him and he got suspended for 3 games. Let's get defenders some incentives for pulling up. Like, hey, bro, I saw you could have knocked brother head off when you pulled off $10,000. Like, some kind of incentive for pulling up and not killing or crushing the quarterback.
Maybe incentive, maybe end of the year bonuses for people that go an entire season without those type of penalties or something. I like this.
Right. Just same way they got the camera, the eye in the sky that can locate concussion symptoms. Hey, locate the radius of that defender that could have knocked the block off.
I love that. I love that. Instead of the Mike Evans, here's $3 million for not concussing Tua and making the sports media talk for a week about our violence problem.
Love it.
Do you have anything else for us, Juju? Does the stat of the day competition appeal to you? Because I was talking during the break with people, we should have a stat of the year at the end of the year where we've crowned a statistic for the year. Everyone loves those easy year-end shows. If we were to do a competition all year, I think people might enjoy a stat of the day. Should we be doing that? Was there any fanfare for that on the internet?
Oh yeah, that people like that your stat versus Mike's and Jeremy's. That was actually a good moment on the YouTube today. So I think that's a great idea. It'll make us do more work instead of sitting home on our behinds watching these games. Maybe we can jot down some notes and want to bring in some good juice for the show. You dig? So I think it's a great idea.
We have an idea for how to execute this, Dan, which is that we're going to keep track of every time somebody brings in a stat that they have for stat of the day. And at the end of each month, we will decide what our leader in the clubhouse is at the end of that month. It will then get thrown into a pool. And when we get to the end of the show in December, before we take our break before Christmas,
we'll have 12 winners.
We will have
12 monthly winners. And guess what we put it into? A college football style stat playoff.
And
that's a good idea, Dan. That's a great idea.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Great idea.
We're going to be smart.
Great idea. And before we get out of here, I want to also bring attention to 2 things. Number 1, Tweaker, Jello Ball right now, Apple iTunes, go get it right now. He shocked the world. LeVar Ball was right. All of his sons are literally superstars and ultra talented. Salute to that brother. Also, just before we get out of here, Izzy's gift was great to you, Dan. You were such a great friend of wearing that hat this entire episode. But the powder on Stugotz's hat has gotten real powdery.
Yeah, he's
lately.
Disgusting. Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. So I think
it's a sweat
Izzy's
stain.
gift. Right.
Yeah.
You almost had it right.
I give this to him. You think I should just give it to him? That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, his hat is disgusting. It's a hygiene problem. The norovirus was on. It's ground zero for that. Like
it's like anthrax-ish right here.
It's a throwback.
Yeah, so if you send my brother Stugotz a hat if you out there.
All right. Good seeing you, Jew. I was talking to Stugotz.
From fireside conversations to football Sundays, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. 2024 had its ups, had its downs, had a lot of moments in it. For me, many of those moments, I had a Miller Lite right there by my side. I supplemented my time by making it a Miller time. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Miller Lite has taste you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just a great beer for people who love beer. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, and it has simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.